Hey everybody, it's Janie and Heather back at the League House. Dickens is over. We had a great time. If you saw some of the Instagram and Facebook, you saw Heather's incredible outfit she made. She sewed some decorative like curtains and upholstery, but never like clothing. So that was her first shot at it. It was impeccable.
There were a lot of mistakes.
It was gorgeous, but we have all that stuff put away. We're back at the house, a little bit rested, and getting back to the meat of the restoration today. So I've actually been given a tour. Heather's been up doing some painting. We'll show that. Actually, I think that is the subject of today's
We'll do that
video because I have some older footage I need to show y'all. But she's helping me because it's hard for me to kind of bend down on the ground. So we're doing the final layout inside the bathroom in the chauffeur's quarters. And we have to do that because you saw in the earlier video, our volunteer Alfred and Emilio came and did this framing, but now we have to frame up the shower and do the fur down in the ceiling to finish this area up. So to do that, we need the final layout. And I forgot to film. We've already done it. So you don't have to spend 30 minutes with us changing our mind and rearranging. So let's go in and show you what we came up with. Okay, so here is what we came up with. We've drawn a light chalk line here for the vanity that sits out 24 inches from the wall, which is really kind of a kitchen counter depth. Bathroom vanities tend to be closer to 22, but I like a big bathroom counter. You know, women like to lay stuff on there, so we're going to go with 24 inches. We've got our shower laid out and our toilet, and the big thing we've been dealing with is there are code clearances around the toilet. So from one wall to the other has to be 30 inches. We framed it 32, so we'd have room for an inch of beadboard here. We're not putting anything on that wall, so that gives us 31. And they will ding you on that and make you move your wall.
Yes,
they will not pass you if you are at 29 or 29 and a half. So we had to be very careful laying out for that. Our rear flush toilet, and we've drawn out.
This is the wall.
Yeah, the wall there. So we've drawn out the standard toilet bowl. And then there's clearance from the front of the toilet bowl to any obstruction in front. So what we were finagling with was the wall of the shower. And I'm going to let Heather get in there and be the showerer. So you saw before that we put in the kind of big niche there for elbow room, but we're trying to maximize now our floor space.
So
but it's pretty good. Actually. Showers can be as small as 30 by 30, which is teeny tiny. You have to,
that's like a little
you have to shower like that. It's awful. We were trying to get 36 and across the edge here.
I think we got it.
We've got
actually 38 to that line, so by the time you build it out,
we'll be there. So we're good. And then the opening, we've got a 24-inch opening here. And we ended up angling the wall at Heather's suggestion instead of doing something kind of L-shaped to maximize the space back here. So I think we're good. And then the other thing we were looking at is lighting. So we have to run all the plumbing and the electrical. So we were going to fur down the ceiling in here, which, if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically dropping the ceiling down. So I was having Heather measure the height in here, which I had never done before. And we're actually 8 feet,
105 inches.
like 8 feet 10, 8 feet 8 inches, something like that. So even furring down 8 inches gives us an 8-foot ceiling, which is great. So we can drop this down to 8 feet. We also want to be able to get an exhaust vent in here. That's a code too. If you don't have a window of a certain size in a bathroom, you have to have an exhaust vent. So we need to get the dimensions on some of the exhaust fans. We could actually go as low as 7 feet, but we want to get as high as we want. So I think the exhaust fan will be the critical thing.
And you wanted to sort of preserve this beautiful exterior detail and be above that with our first.
We were talking about that too. We want to tile up to this ledge. We'll get Ricardo to come in and plaster this flat and do our tile, but we wanted to leave that exposed above to show the construction of the house. So we don't want to fur down below. So 8 inches gets us an inch or two above, right at that little lip.
Almost right there, yeah. That's about 8 inches.
About 8 inches. It'll also hide this beam over here. So that will let us run lights, have an overhead light, have that exhaust fan.
And if you've got that fur down and you did want to drop something down in front of the mirror, you could put another can.
We could put a hanging light or something. And then that would also let us bring electrical over and do a wall light here, like a sconce, because we don't have a way to get electrical through this concrete.
Oh, that's perfect.
And so you do have to have lighting in a hallway. So we could do our hall lighting. So it solves a lot of problems for us. So I think we have a plan, and we will get Alfred and Emilio and crew back in here and get going with this. And then
really good down here.
And then the plumber can come in.
I know, exciting.
So with that resolved, we're gonna head up and tackle our painting again. While I was touring, Heather was up here sketching out the design. And it's a little awkward because these are actually not squares, they're slightly rectangular. So she's doing it this way and then just be able to flip the paper over. And you brought carbon paper.
I've got transfer paper right here.
So once we've got the design, she can stick the carbon paper under and draw it and then just flip these around the other way. And in theory, it's symmetrical, but we're not sure what we measured or anything. So we'll just have to see.
This has been about a month ago that we started this.
See how it goes, but right now she's going to go grab the other microphone and some stuff from downstairs because it takes me a long time to get up to the 3rd floor. So I'm going to sit and have some lunch while she scurries down the stairs.
Tripod and, okay, got it. Yeah. I'm going. They're pretty cool.
So Heather's got the design down, so now she's got just old-fashioned carbon tracing paper.
Yep.
To slip under it, and she's marked down where we missed all the blue boxes down there. You can't get good help anymore. I don't know who was painting blue. Who could that have been?
I don't know what was happening that
day.
I
think it was me.
That's funny.
But we worked till, I don't know, 5 or so. We were kind of caught up in it and.
Well, and that morning we had already drug these things out of
so hard,
that, that's going to be pretty funny to see that video, I'm sure. God knows what happened in that one. These were a beast to get out of that upstairs cubby where the Laylights are.
I'll be curious to see how that tracing paper works. That plywood is so rough.
I know. I'm trying to be kind of hard to see if it'll transfer. These sort of make a teardrop shape, which is interesting. It's like the interlaced teardrops, but it makes a continuous swirl pattern. It's very ingenious.
Yeah, we need to get
this design.
I've been trying to work in my spare time on kind of little exhibit things to put on the wall. Like I framed the tile for Daisy's bedroom and put up. It'd be nice to have some really good pictures of the stained glass.
At least there's something there to give a visual reference of, what those, because if people have not seen those earlier videos, they don't know what these stained glass look like.
No, and I am quite anxious to get these back in because there's gaping holes now that drop down 30, 40 feet.
Yeah,
so, and we don't let anybody come up on this floor, but sometimes you get people that can't follow rules and will climb over barricades and sneak and do things.
What am I doing? I haven't even put I'm doing this and I haven't even put the stupid stuff under. Okay. I'm just like, I'm tracing away, I'm talking, and I'm like, I'm not even paying attention. Oh yeah, it's working great.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's working great. I just have to move it over.
Even the professionals make mistakes.
It's what happens when you start talking.
Okay, and because I can't stand it.
What can you not stand?
Not seeing what it looks like with that done. I'm gonna get the paint out.
What, are you gonna get the blue?
No, the black.
Already? Mm-hmm. Okay. Go for it, girlfriend.
Because we can come back and texture over and then just touch up the...
I mean, we really don't have to do anything to the blue. The only thing that we really need to mess with on anything is really these white, the white ones, and we can do that.
Yeah, and like I said, and it won't hurt the black, and if we get it on it, we'll just touch it up.
It's not gonna hurt anything. No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, obviously the black is where the difference is.
I did not shake that up, but that's what's gonna really...
You do need to shake it up.
Pop and see. And we may not even need to do anything to the yellow or the white needs some swirling, but
I think it just...
Once you get the black on it, it's going to change the look of it. Like, look how it changed the look of the other one. It was just like night and day. It went from like kindergarten art to...
Yeah, it did.
Something that looked decent.
Oh, we've got something to...
Oh, gosh.
Oh, crap, girl. Oh, no.
Okay, my boot done bend.
No, it doesn't. Oh, my God. The comedy of errors in here.
Okay. The question is, can I do a straight line?
Well, you know, I mean, this is the leaded glass, so, I mean, how straight does it really have to be? Okay, let me see what I've got here. Let me have a look-see. Let's see what this looks like. How did I join up over here? All right, so this is not, like,
Look at how it's not going in these grooves. This may be a tedious process. I'm going to have to bend this a little bit.
This is going to have to be like that, okay? And this is going to have to be like that. Okay, not too bad, girl, I have to say. That actually works pretty good. There is the pattern. What do you think?
I think it looks
How
awesome.
about it? How about
I think I need to work from the center out and not do the edge.
Yes, you do.
This is such slow, tedious work. If you didn't see Heather hopping around so fast in the background, you'd have no idea that I have sped this up to 800%. The painting was just very difficult on this rough plywood, but we had fun and we spent almost the whole afternoon getting this thing worked on. It would have been nice if we had cabinet grade plywood to work on, but
yes,
that would have cost a lot of money.
Yeah, but who knew you didn't know, who would have ever thought that we were going to need to do something like this to... I feel bad for people who have to do boring jobs.
The boot's coming off.
Uh-oh. Are you allowed?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to stand up or
I'm not
anything.
going to tell, I won't tell anybody.
I'm going to crawl around on my hands and knees. It's just very obnoxiously in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can do this.
That's so funny.
Heather had worked on this all morning and I worked on it from lunch until about 4:30. So it doesn't look like it because I have really speeded up the video at this point, but this was a long, tedious process. And thank goodness I had someone like Heather to work with. She's so much fun. The time was enjoyable and it seemed to go by fast, but we were glad when we could get up off our hands and knees. This was not the most comfortable thing to work on. When Heather finished doing all the tracing, the carbon paper that she was using when held up to the light looked like a piece of art. Jo is on her way up.
Oh. I didn't know it was going to be on camera.
Are you done with tours?
Yes, we're done. We're all locked up. Yay.
What do you think?
Wow. It looks good. It looks way different than it did this morning.
Well,
The black, the
Look like some weird
charcoal.
squares.
Yeah.
Charcoal adds a lot.
No, it
We
looks
found a
great.
few faux pas on our faux thing.
The faux.
Then we had some faux pas on the
That's very
faux.
faux. Did you freehand this?
Heather did a pattern.
There it is right
Oh,
there. I
yeah.
made that pattern for it.
Wow.
And then we just used, see the charcoal, and then I was just able to take and, rough it, and then I just
Flip
flip
it.
it. And then she just followed behind me with the brush and painted over the charcoal outline. Well, what I was telling her is that this was the exact process of my dress. The back, I had to
She
cut
did.
it.
She
She
did.
did
She
She
hand
the soutache.
You hand soutache that. Wow.
Yes,
That was
because
impressive.
I had to do that
Soutache.
exact.
Frogs are like when you make closures out of them.
That was-
I realized that. And
it
the
was
soutache.
soutache.
Soutache is when it's the pattern all over.
Soutache, yeah.
She soutached it herself.
Yes, so
Cord.
the actual cording is the soutache, and it comes in a couple of different sizes.
Yeah.
But basically, I had to take that little roller with a carbon on the back of the dress and roll over the pattern, and then I hand stitch.
Oh, wow.
So this exact same process. I mean,
Yeah.
the exact same process, which was interesting. That was what it made me think of.
You can hold that up. I gotta finish painting. Your
Just give me my hands.
hands are.
Did you get film of it as you were doing it?
Oh, yeah,
You have before and
I
after?
set up a time lapse for 20 minutes and it's 54 seconds of film. It's like they need
Can you believe that?
like a speed selection so you can,
Yeah.
You can say how fast.
not that anybody wants to sit and watch us in real time do this. It's pretty painful,
It
but
is.
It looks so good.
It's making it, well, I think as you look at it, from the ground, it's going to have that sort of lightness. It's better than a piece of junky plywood out there.
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
and at least I was just saying this is sort of theatrical, almost like set design, just at least to sort of give the house some,
but it's so hard
effect.
because it's so rough.
it is
Oh,
extremely rough
That
to
you
paint
just-
on
Look at
this.
this
it's,
so they can see.
It is
that the board
very rough.
You paint over it and paint doesn't go in the
Yeah.
thing, so you have to come
very,
back
very
and
rough plywood.
It is very,
you have to use a ton of
we're
paint.
putting some serious lipstick on this piggy plywood, this piggy plywood here.
Yeah, the tricky part is going to be getting it back in the.
We are not. We are not. We are
God.
going to let them in.
For a quick recap, that plywood was covering the hole where the Laylights came out of. So this is above the grand staircase, and so above us is the cupola where the light would come in. And I'm not actually going to step in here because of this. This is above the grand staircase, and so it's a long way down. But the Laylights were in these frames. And we covered that with plywood after we took the Laylights out. And I'm saying we, like I had anything to do with it, I watched. But this is where it's going to go back in.
Yeah, so we were saying that we're anxious to get it done because it's a safety hazard that it's open.
Yeah.
Even though we don't let people come up here, you just can't trust people.
Well, somebody could break into the house and crawl
Call
around
in and sue us. I just put the paint. And in hindsight, I should have fixed the door first to lock that area off.
yeah.
But I didn't think about that, so
Well, we didn't think we would have it out this long either.
we got sidetracked in our project, so.
Well, we got sidetracked. Well, let's talk about it. You broke your foot, and then we had Dickens, so that was kind of the end of that.
So basically it's all Janie's fault.
And Thanksgiving. So, some stuff happened in between us getting these out. and-
Life happens.
Although, whose fault is it really, Janie, at the end of the day?
Joe's.
Joe's fault. Is that right?
When we were laughing.
She's worked out some sort of algorithm where everything is eventually my
the
fault.
queen of.
You're the fall guy.
I'm always the ultimate.
She's the queen of creating. She deflects
Yes.
responsibility with some very creative things.
I have led a charmed
a
life.
lot of creative excuses.
It's not excuses, it is simple
And I
logic.
said, I don't have to come up with creative excuses. I just have to say it's Joe's fault.
Oh my
It is
I only
simple
have-
root cause analysis.
I only have one thing to say. It's just Joe's fault.
Oh my gosh.
Although really, if you do a root cause analysis, most of it comes back to me.
Is that right?
That's true.
Well, like she bought the Lucas because of me, and then she bought this house because of the Lucas, and then she broke her foot because she was at this house.
This is it's all, as I said,
It all comes back to me.
I just have to say it's Joe's fault.
I see how that works. That's pretty.
This is
it's
the
easy.
life of a little sister.
Okay. All right.
It's easy. It's easy, it's simple.
It's just yeah.
Oh, there you go, flicks it again. This plywood is very bowed, so Heather or I lean in to paint, and when you let go, it springs up, and if the other person is painting, then you get
It's very
some wonky
badly bowed.
lines.
Well, I mean, how long has it been up in the Laylight area?
Oh, I
Since
know.
day one, almost
2.5
probably.
years.
Yeah, because the taking out the stained glass was one of the early things.
I think in April or so.
So that plywood's been there since
Yeah, they
Day one.
didn't do it, the stained glass guys, but my contractor Robert put it in.
he put it in. Okay. You know, when we were taking it out, I was really impressed with the amount of airflow that comes through that area. I mean, you could really feel it that day when we were.
Yeah, the whole house is designed for air to exit out
I mean,
through that area. It's got
it was
the cove
amazing.
ceiling and
Yeah.
all the transoms that circulate the air towards that area.
Well, you could feel it. I mean, it was a pretty strong flow of air when we were up there, you know, wrestling these out of
I
there.
think this end of the plywood is the worst.
It's the as far as the grooves and graining it.
Yeah, well, that's my fault.
It
It's
is.
Joe's fault.
Well,
I would have picked a better piece of plywood if she.
There's a lot of knot. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of knots. All right, we are coming down to the end of this, which is good. So then it can just sit here and dry. We probably ought to pull the tape. That way they don't stick it up there with the tape. But I think we have our notes on which ones go where, because I think it does,
It's written
it
on
does
the,
matter.
It's written on the board itself.
Okay, so because it does matter.
Y'all didn't paint over it, right?
No, I think I see a note right down there. They go in a certain way because we got under there and she marked the corners. And that's why you see these, they're not put on, like they're kind of an angle, because the plywood has to lay up there in an angle because it can't go in like perfectly square. So had we gotten up there and had we just pulled these off and said, oh, we'll just put it right in the middle of this, it wouldn't have, they won't go back in right. So that's why it looks like we're painting on it really weirdly. But that was actually for a reason. So we'll see. We'll see if our stage design pays off in the end. You okay?
We missed.
I've got to do this one.
Good.
I think we're finishing
Like
kind of
the last
roughly
one.
around at the same time, aren't we? Amazingly. We divided and conquered well on this.
We've just been up here congratulating each other. We're like the
I
Heather and
know.
Janie Mutual Admiration Society.
Yay, us! We finished it.
I gotta get up without my boot on, so I gotta get up
Uh-oh.
one-legged. Somebody help me.
That's almost like me
I
trying
need
to
a
get up.
boot.
That was a long one.
Okay,
Okay,
I
look.
have my boot.
So we need a third person for a boot.
I need that boot.
We need that boot. All right, so we need to check all of our cross-hatched lines around all of our blue squares, and we need to look at all of our swirly pattern, make sure that looks right.
I don't see any.
Any misses? So now, we didn't do this middle here because that's a black bar.
Yeah,
And
that's a
so
metal
we
bar.
didn't paint it in, so that will give us a little bit of shift. And we made the edge a little wider than that as well. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna pull the tape then. And then we just have a few things to wash here.
Grossed out your lid. I don't know. Okay, that is it for today. We're done. Another successful project that was a zero cost project for us. We did consume a tiny bit of Heather's material here, but this is all scrap paint. It's going to look great, but Heather and I are not putting it back in. It was pretty difficult and we don't want to scratch up the paint, so we need a couple of the stronger guys. We could do it, but we're just not going to. We're going to get some help with that and get that hole sealed up and get things safe. Alfred's bringing me more stuff. Peppy, what are you doing? Peppy's exploring, and Alfred and Pepper are here, and they're going to help me put these back in. But we got to wait for the guys to get up the stairs.
Long ways?
Long ways this way.
And we're going to raise it up.
And then we're going to raise it up over the toilet and come in right here. Okay, Alfred and Herbie came, and now we have Laylights. It is a lot darker in here, but we do have lights to turn on.
Yeah.
But at least people can see what it would have looked like. I had to put the camera down and climb inside and help just a little bit to get things in position, but it felt great to get these things in and have that big dangerous hole covered up again. There's still a little bit of scooching around to get them in exactly the right spot, and I'll get some screws in to make it permanent. But I think they look great from the ground looking up. It's just a big improvement in the house when visitors come to see us. And there was time to get a nice Christmas photo of Alfred and his true love, Peppy, in front of our tree. It's been a really good week. Dickens was a lot of fun. We made $2,000 profit on all of our Christmas ornaments and everything. They're still selling online, thanks to everybody who's been out there shopping. But we're going to call it a day today, and we'll see you back next